I am absolutely convinced that men don't actually want relationships. Like, men want their lives as is. They want to go about their day exactly as it is, do whatever they would normally do, and just want somebody there when it's convenient for them, or, you know, for the things they want to do. Like, convince me I'm wrong.
It is the men that you desire that don't want a relationship.
Why, when a woman interrupts a man doing what he's doing, why you guys are so furious and don't pretend you're not? You try to get a grip on it. Not only have we diminished your ability to be productive by interrupting you, we have disrupted your peace. So I've tried to talk to him like, if a man were meditating, you could hear him chanting. Really? Would you walk in on him to say that? Like, imagine that's what he's doing. A man focused, he's in a meditation of fixing the car, repairing the sprinklers, playing a game with his son. He's at peace. Leave him at peace. And if you can't, I'm sorry to interrupt. Be respectful of the impact you're having. I'm so sorry to interrupt. The worst that can happen is a man would say, you're interrupting, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's the worst that would happen.
This woman has so much wisdom. She found the unlock code to men.
3 things women do to destroy men's peace. Number 1, we want to talk to them about things that are important to us at the wrong time. For example, it's not a good time to talk to your husband about honeydews, about bills, when he's heading out to work in the morning or when he first gets home. He needs time to decompress. Number 2, give him time to do whatever the heck he wants. He works hard for you, so let him go have some fun. And number 3, this is kind of similar, but support his hobbies. If he wants to go on a fishing trip, if he wants to go hunting, the answer is yes.
I don't want to sound harsh by saying this, but men don't want extra drama that they don't need in their life. Men would rather be alone than with a woman who brings nothing more than drama into his life. And no, this doesn't mean that you can't come to him with your problems. This doesn't mean that you can't go to him when you're feeling bad or when you're feeling upset. This just means if that is all you're bringing to the relationship, it is simply not enough, especially for a good man who's going places in his life. If you want to lock down an amazing guy who has all the qualities you're looking for, who is driven, who is ambitious, who's going places in life, you need to be the kind of woman that he would want to be with. And the kind of woman he would want to be with is a woman who is self-controlled, who is emotionally stable, and who's able to support him and put him first in difficult times and not only come to him with all of your drama. You need to learn to be careful with what you say, when you say it, and how you say it. And remember that you need to bring assets into his life that are more than just your looks if you want to be with a man that is going places in life.
If we want drama, we watch Netflix. Simple as that. Why worry about a whole human just to do that?
Ladies, listen up. Feminism is not about equality anymore. It's about tearing down men and stripping women of their true power. The original idea of feminism was about giving women equal rights, the ability to vote, work, and have a voice. But somewhere along the way, it turned toxic. Modern feminism today tells women to hate men, reject families, and act like the very thing they claim to be fighting against. And here's the truth. Feminism didn't make women stronger. It made them miserable. It convinced women that being feminine is weak, that being nurturing, loving, and wanting a husband and kids somehow makes you less. That is not strength. That is pure confusion. Femininity is powerful. A feminine woman knows how to elevate her man, create peace in her home, and stand firm in her values without trying to be a man. Feminism breeds resentment. Femininity creates harmony, and that's the difference that nobody wants to admit. Ladies, you do not gain power by competing with the guys. You gain power by being fully feminine and letting men lead where they are meant to lead. Feminism destroyed that truth. Femininity restores it. And if that offends you, maybe that's the wake-up call that you need.
Once women accept a man's true nature, it's incredibly freeing, like this comment is saying. And it's on a video where I'm talking about men, most men, not all men, are inherently cruel, and women need to understand that. Once women understand that, you can then move accordingly. You can then, as a woman, decenter men and do it without any guilt. You can deconstruct all of that patriarchal conditioning that you have been fed from the moment you could walk, probably even before that. You can start living life completely for yourself, unapologetically, with no shame and no guilt, because most men are inherently cruel. And thus, why would you live a life centered around the needs of someone who does not care about you? Understanding and really getting it down deep into your soul that most men are inherently cruel frees you from the obligation of, if he would just be nicer, if he would just smile more, if he would just try harder to meet his needs, because you understand that his needs are unmeetable. It's not because of something you're not doing or you're doing too much of. No matter what, there's always going to be this undercurrent of cruelty, this need that some men, not all men, have to always harm, hurt, and subjugate women. When you understand this, you completely take yourself out of their little cruel, sick game. You take yourself out of the cage and you fly free like a bird.
This idea that most men are inherently cruel is exactly why so many people are checking out of modern gender conversations. Men aren't born cruel, and painting half the population as defective only fuels bitterness, not healing.
I typed in feminism, and the first 4 videos that came up were anti-feminist, including...
Definitely go watch this video in its entirety, but the basic gist is this woman set up a social experiment to frame herself as a young man on social media with an interest in understanding feminism, not from a negative standpoint. However, the algorithm showed her all red pill and anti-feminist content in response. Also have been a number of social experiments in the past and even investigative journalism into the type of content that men receive as soon as they sign up, which has been found to be incredibly misogynistic. The difference is she was framing it as wanting to understand feminism, not from any sort of negative place at all. In Australia, we've passed legislation, so it will be illegal to access social media under 16. I don't know where I stand on this currently. I need to educate myself more on this issue. However, things like this do point me in the direction of thinking that that is a positive thing. Everything is political. This isn't a fucking surprise. We already know who owns these big social media companies as well as who the major shareholders are. And these are the same people creating these algorithms. And we also know where these people sit politically because they are vocal about that. The original creator suggests that there should be laws governing these algorithms, which I 100% agree with. However, I do not know how that would work and how difficult that would be to put in place considering the political landscape in America at this time. Because these are international companies, obviously in Australia, I believe we have no say over any of this, and we can only regulate users in Australia to these apps. Correct me if I'm wrong. The overarching issue is that more and more young, impressionable boys and girls are seeking to social media to find answers to questions instead of using search engines, for instance. And search engines also have algorithms, but those algorithms don't go to preferential content or content with an agenda. Those algorithms focus on the quality of the websites providing the content. As I said previously, search engines can absolutely get it wrong and websites can have inaccurate information on those websites. However, the algorithms do not intend to only show you one particular type of content. They try to show you the best answer to your question based on all the content on the internet in that area, if that makes sense. This could change because who the fuck knows at this point. Opposed to social media algorithms, which clearly show content based on different measures, such as what the woman did in her social experiment and the type of content she was receiving by typing in feminism. Should be a concern to everybody because the byproduct of misogyny being taught the norm is gender-based violence and more young girls and women losing their lives. According to experts, the leading way to reduce a young boy turning into a violent man is to have a proactive father figure at home and to have these conversations with your kids ongoingly and continue to educate them in this area. I don't know if there are any other solutions, but I'd love to open a dialogue about it, so please feel free to comment any suggestions.
We all know very well that feminism is dominating online spaces for a decade straight. And that is exactly why the algorithm now swings the other way. People are finally calling out the damage broken families, divided genders, men told they're the problem, women told they don't need anyone, and now everyone is miserable.
The thing that pisses me most off about the whole concept of feminism is that people think that it is anti-men.
Yeah.
And it's like, actually, if you're for women's rights, then you're a feminist. Like, you don't have to be a woman to be a feminist. In fact, we actually need more men to be feminists.
Yeah.
So maybe it's because it has the word feminine. People think like, oh,
Yeah.
we don't want to touch that. Like, I have a girlfriend who, she was like, oh, I'm not a feminist, but, and I was like, sorry, whoa, stop talking about. I said, what did you just say? And she said, I'm not a feminist. I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, yeah, I'm not. I don't have hairy armpits. Like, I was like, babe, like, do you understand? And I went on my Google and I was like, do you understand what feminism means? It means you are pro women's rights. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely pro women's rights. This is a woman who's a CEO of a business, like multi-million-dollar business. Oh, wow. She is like a beast, stunning, beautiful, really feminine, but an absolute animal. Like, and she's standing there going, I'm not a feminist, because in her kind of mind, she doesn't relate to like the way that is portrayed. And I was just like, wow, like, we need to rebrand this concept.
Modern feminism has nothing to do with real feminism.
Want to know something wild? Women traded family for a 9-to-5 and then they called it liberation. Just think about it for a second. Our grandmothers prayed for husbands so that they could work hard, raise kids, and build a strong home. That was the dream: security, love, and purpose. Then feminism came along, told women that being a wife and being a mother is oppressive. So what did we do? We left the home to work for men that don't love us at companies that will replace us the second we get burnt out. That's not freedom, that is slavery in heels. Feminism convinced women that family is a cage and working for a corporate job is empowerment. Tell me this, why do so many women hit 30, are alone, exhausted, and wondering why they feel so empty? It's because you can't outsmart God's design. No promotion will ever replace a husband that loves you and children who adore you. So no, I'm not anti-woman, I'm pro-woman, and pro-woman enough to tell you the truth. Real freedom isn't in a cubicle or a nurse's station, it's in building a legacy. So go forth and multiply.
Then the government got double the tax money too.
I feel like a conversation a lot of people don't want to have and aren't ready to have yet is how misunderstood and misrepresented feminism is. Like, one, there's this whole trend on social media of my man better pay for this for me and pay for that for me, and he better do this and that for me because it's girl power, princess treatment, feminism, whatever. It's not feminism, and it's actually not women empowerment. It's misogyny repackaged into a pink sparkly bow, because you are perpetuating the idea that a woman must be dependent on a man for resources, for means of living. That being said, you are allowed to have preferences in a relationship. You're allowed to prefer a man who will pay for you, or you're allowed to prefer a man who's rich, but don't put it under this disguise of feminism and girl power, because it's not. If you were a feminist, you would not believe that it's a man's role to provide for you. You would believe that you are supposed to provide for yourself and you can be independent as a woman. But again, don't get me wrong, I like when someone treats me out for dinner. I like when someone pays for me, but I won't expect it. I won't say that it's their obligation, it's their role. A lot of people are going to call me a pick-me or hate on me for saying this, but I go into all my dates expecting to pay for half the bill. Whether or not they decide to pay for the full thing is up to them, but I will not hold it against them if they want to split the bill. Another thing is feminism and how it's misrepresented through publications and social media. We'll get a very accomplished and empowered woman, we'll paint her face in makeup, put her in a flashy outfit, retouch her face, cinch her waist in on Photoshop, make her tits bigger, call her a girl boss, and the day is done. That's feminism for the day. The same thing that happened 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 60 years ago, etc. Except this time we're calling her a girl boss, and so it's feminism. No, we're again just supporting misogynistic systems under the idea of, oh, feminism. Here's an example. This is Michael Phelps. He's a legend in the Olympics. We all know who Michael Phelps is. And of course, his magazine covers are showing his merit, are showing his accomplishments. And we go to Simone Biles, and yes, we do have some of her in gymnastics, but then the first two that pop up are her in a dress, her in makeup. It supports this idea that a woman needs to be beautiful, needs to be all done up just to be taken seriously. But of course, she is allowed to feel beautiful. She's allowed to look beautiful. I'm not saying she isn't. But the fact that these are the first few images that come up when you search Simone Biles magazine cover compared to Michael Phelps magazine cover says a lot. Why can't we just celebrate her based off her merit without having to highlight her beauty and her femininity? She's an insane athlete and she needs to be recognized as such.
It's all these ideas of my man better pay for me, and also different things like that, like the magazine cover, that's causing people to have pushback on feminism because they think it's useless. And it's not. I think feminism is still very much needed in today's society. It's just so misunderstood and so misrepresented that people are starting to resent it because it's seen as abusing the power of oppression. People are seeing feminism as, oh yeah, we were oppressed back in the 1950s, so now you have to give me everything I want. That's not what feminism is. Okay, thank you, bye.
Real feminism benefits both gender and against gender roles. A real feminist wouldn't support gender roles and support the lifestyle that you have as long as you're not hurting anyone. It's not entitled women, which sums up feminism today. Thanks for watching Manhood. If you want access to exclusive episodes and want to support the channel, hit that join button and become a member. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if it hit home. Drop your stories and thoughts in the comments. We read everyone. See you tomorrow.